guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm doing this live myself. So, we're going to be checking, make sure the sound is working in just a moment. I'm so excited that you're here. It says we're good. Let's make sure. Yep, we got sound there. We're going to talk about how to design your own personal practice. And so, if you have questions about your own personal practice, I'm going to want to know because right now, so I can address them in this live as much as possible. Before we do that, first, I just got to make sure that my audio is working. Yes, it is. Okay, we are in. Hi, guys. Okay, so on Sundays, hi, Sheila. On Sundays, we answer your questions. Just so you know, I'm leaving for the UK on Tuesday. I'm teaching in person in Essex and Leeds. Um, not this week, but the next week. And there's like one spot left. So opc.me/UK. Sheila, thank you. Next time I'll just make sure. I'll just wait for you to tell me. Um, so um so opc.me/UK if you want to come do that. If you are stateside, I will be announcing the winter tour on October 1st. opc.me/events is where you want to go to get on the wait list. You make sure you hear about the tour as quickly as possible. opc.me/events. Okay, so the question was, I'm going to pull it up specifically because it had some nuances and I really, really liked it. So Christy Smith asked, could you go over how you design a personal practice, like how to remember all the exercises, but have variety and introduce challenge without overworking? So I absolutely uh, love this question. And actually, great. I'll still be doing my lives, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what time. I'm hopeful that there's still 9 a.m. Pacific time, but that's gonna be sometime in the UK. So keep watching this subscription on this channel to see how it's going. But how do you design a personal practice that doesn't get boring? And also you don't do too much. So something that I think is really fascinating. I have a personal trainer as well as doing Pilates. So my movement practice during the week includes 4 days of lifting weights, 4 to 5 days of Pilates. I'll explain that, the timelines of that. Sometimes I do 6. I walk every day. I do yoga twice a week. And you're like, how do you have the time for all these things? First of all, my Pilates practice is not always an hour. I actually do not subscribe to that your workouts have to be a specific length of time. If you're a woman with a cycle, I really do believe that you should be working out based on your cycle. So, for the first couple of weeks of my cycle, I can go hard, I can really hit things. And so I will make sure that I'm hitting it hard at the gym. I am, uh, challenging my body in that way. My Pilates practice, I will hit longer timelines if I can without breaks. So, but the second 2 weeks of my cycle, I make sure that my weight training takes longer. I also don't stress myself out. Like I don't do too long of a zone two if my body's struggling with it. And my Pilates practice, I might hit like more like 15 to 20 minutes most days. And then I have 2 days where I'll do 50 minutes, right? So listening to your body is very much key. So anything I'm about to tell you in a second, if you are not listening to your body, that is your first practice foremost. Okay. You must listen to your practice. Okay. Your body first. Second, I bring up my personal training, my weight training as an example because what I see people doing in the Pilates world that really is sad to me is they think that has to be different every single time. So at the gym, my trainer works in blocks, and every single Monday, it's the same exercises with maybe a couple extra reps or a couple extra pounds, depending on how the last week went. If the last week was really hard and challenging, nothing changes. I've got to develop the foundation. If the last week was easier, doable, then she's going to challenge me. So Joe Pilates thought about this as well. His order on the mat and reformer is there to be your foundations. It's there to be this um, guide or barometer of what is your body needing, right? So what do you need more training and connections in your extension or flexion? Are you feeling like your legs are heavier? So I personally believe you need to be hitting your mat, and if you have access to a reformer, 2 times a week, so that you can really have like a steady reference of how your body is feeling. That is how I can listen to my body, right? Like it's not like I have like check it. I get on my mat and based on like how my mat feels from the beginning to the end, if by the end it doesn't feel possible and I don't have more energy, I'm like, ooh, okay, my body's telling me something. If at the end my body's like, whoa, I'm feeling so strong, that's my body telling me, okay, we can do some more challenging things. So I personally think that your personal practice needs to have a staple. So whatever that is for you needs to have it. So for me, I do my mat reformer both 2 times a week. All right. Now, the question was how do you remember all the exercises, how to have variety, and how do you introduce challenge with overworking? So in general, you should not be introducing too many new exercises. So I'll just say as a teacher, when I have client, I am not giving them more than maybe 2 or 3 exercises new on any particular piece of equipment. In fact, I try to err on 2 or less. And that's because then when they tell me, oh, I feel a little bit sore or I feel a little uncomfortable today, I can, based on the exercises, go, oh, it was probably this one on the one to chair. Right. But if I give 5 new exercises, then it's kind of hard for me to know which one overworked and which one was too much. So you don't want to be introducing too many new exercises at a time, right? The second thing is when you introduce exercises, they need to be not necessarily always challenging you, right? So Joe, you would do your mat reformer, and then you would do what was called your exercises. The your exercises are on the Cadillac, one to chair, high chair, barrels, etc., etc. So your exercises very much in the beginning were there to help your body with the connections it was missing, right? So if you watch the video on like how did Joe Q? Oh, actually, it hasn't come out yet. It's coming out. It's coming out. Did Joe Q? I reference like what Joe would do, and so if you are struggling with your roll up, then you would be introducing exercises that would help with your roll up. Is it because your back is tight? Well, then we have to do exercises that would open your back. Is it because your hamstrings are weak? Then we have to do exercises that strengthen your hamstrings, right? So that is how you would introduce, in air quotes, variety without overworking, because the exercise you're introducing should be strengthening what isn't feeling connected. Okay. Um, if you're an OPC member, when you submit a video of an exercise you struggle with, I often do ask, like, what do these exercises look like? Do you have access to these props or this equipment? Because that's going to be helpful for you. Okay. So that's how you introduce. And Jonah give you new ones all the time. In fact, you probably would be doing those your exercises for several weeks, especially if you're only doing your practice a couple times a week, right? Pilates really works best in the body if you're hitting that 4 times, right? 4 is so key. 3 is great. 2 is good. 2 is wonderful. 1, I'm gonna challenge you. It's not great. Okay. It's just like studying a language. If you do it once a week, you'll kind of like recognize some sounds and some stuff, but you're not gonna have a full conversation, right? So with that being said, how do you challenge yourself without overworking? Once you're really good at listening to your body and you're getting those connections, then it's like looking at the exercises that you want to be adding to your practice. What's on the mat and the reformer that you're desiring to understand? Is it snake and twist? Is it overhead? That's when you're like, okay, what your exercises would challenge me to prepare my body for the ones that I want to do. All right. So, um, that is where it gets a little complicated because you do have to kind of know what's coming up. So then the other question was like, how do you remember them all? It's hard. It's hard, especially if this is just like you're not a teacher, especially if you're just like a Pilates enthusiast. It's difficult. So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend my flashcards. Right. So what I tell people to do with the flashcards is I always say, like, first, just like go through the deck. Okay. Go through the deck, especially Mat and Reformer. These are your bread and butter. Go through the deck and pull out any cards that look ridiculous. Like you're just like, based on the picture, she's crazy. Okay. Then what you're left with is exercises you think you can do. Okay. So when you uh do those, based on how they go, you're like, okay, well, what accessory exercise do I need to do? What mat exercises can I do? The cards do have the cards do have like related exercises. You have your exercises on the barrels, you have them on the chairs, right? So like when you have these, it's not, you don't have to remember everything. You have a visual. And you're only going to be, you're not going to be having so many your exercises that you're doing the whole box every time. You're doing like five, right? So then you're getting good, you're having consistency, you're ready to challenge yourself without overworking yourself, right, Christy? That's the question. How do you, so then it's like, okay, well, I want to do this exercise. Okay, this was on the top of the box, so, but it's also a crazy exercise, right? So um when you're like, okay, if this is something you're wanting to do, we can see you have to have open hips, you have to have great extension, you have to have your arms overhead. Okay, so then if you go inside, I have substitutions. Substitutions are a great idea of like what is building up to this exercise. So on this, I put, if you can't do this exercise, you do thigh stretch. You could do swan. You could do down stretch. You could do semicircle. Why? Because all those exercises include this shape. So if all those substitutions you're slaying, you're getting closer to this. Does that mean you'll be able to do it? No, but you're getting closer to it. Okay. Um, on the new decks, I also have related mat exercises, so that would help you, right? Um, chest expansion shield, yes, ish. Chest expansion, you better be able to do any of these. So it's less of like, but where people struggle with this is not going into their lower back, staying connected to their lower abs, and being able to push overhead, and then you have to be able to come out of it. So yes, you should. You do not pass chest expansion. Do not do this if you're not doing chest expansion. So then you're like, okay, so based on this, you can watch the video and you can see, okay, oh, well, my thighs are tight. Okay, well, then what other exercises would open up your thighs? Oh, my hamstrings aren't strong. Okay, what exercises? So that, Christy, is how you would challenge yourself without working. We're not going to even go near this until we know your hamstrings can support you. So on the Cadillac, it's not listed here, but on the Cadillac, there is an exercise called rolling in and out. Rolling in and out really does put that shape together. So you could be doing that as part of your practice to challenge yourself without overworking yourself. When that gets easier, it's like, okay, well, let's give this a try. Let's just give the start position a try, right? And then as that goes, you can be doing it. I also recommend anytime you're challenging yourself with a new exercise that is kind of a back bend or some sort of flip or headstand, you always want to have a spotter. So to to know how to challenge yourself, you do have to know where you're going, which is why I say grab a deck or grab one of my posters and look at the exercise that look crazy to you and then go, okay, I'm not doing these yet. I'm going to focus on these ones I think I can do. And then I am going to, when this practice is feeling strong, I'm going to take what I need to have to make this exercise happen, and then I'm going to do it. So you don't have to memorize every exercise. You just have to have some sort of visual to know where you want to go. It's like when you go on a trip, on a road trip. You're not like, okay, I'm going to go to Maine from Nevada. Let's just go east and see if we get there. And then maybe we need to go sometime. At some point, we should go north. No, we look at Maine, we look at Nevada, we look at the map and we map it out. I cannot get to Maine without going through probably New York. I have to go like right. So the same thing applies for the exercise you want to do. What parts do you need to make this map happen? Actually, like push through forward, push through. No, I mean, you should have a strong push through. This back bend, you have to have all the parts, but push through is more flexion. It will absolutely help with arm back connection you need, but I would say to go from push, if I saw someone do a great push through, I wouldn't be like, oh, they could do that back bend. I need to see them back bend. I need to see them do a thigh stretch with a back bend on the Cadillac. I need to see them do a swan dive. I need to see them do, I would say, kneeling push down the window chair because like do their hamstrings hold them up. I want to see down stretch, all these different things. I can't remember the name where you circle the bar behind you on the tower, but that could help too. Yeah, long back arms, those are basics. So I just want to tell you, like if you're like to Christy's question, like what should you have? If you are new to personal practice on the Cadillac, everyone needs to do roll back, push through. These are kneeling chest expansion, kneeling thigh stretch, long back arms. period. Like that is a great leg springs, arm springs. That is a great way to end a mat and reformer. If you're like, I have no idea, um, I have no idea what exercise to choose. Oh, Ashley, when you were talking about rolling forward. So rolling in and out has the roll back bar and you dive in all fours, pull it in and then circle. It's like a kneeling semicircle. Yeah. Um, so it's a system, right? So here's the other thing. You can't go wrong as long as you are picking exercises that are right for your body because they actually all work together. They all work together. All 500 are just one exercise. You're doing 500 different ways. It is difficult if you're not a teacher to memorize them all, right? It's difficult to memorize them all because it's like I'm trying to learn tarot as a hobby. That's not my job, and I don't plan on like giving people readings. I plan on just using it for myself. So with that being said, um, with that being said, it's like I you have to have some grace for yourself and then have some tools. Like for me, because tarot's a hobby, I have books that explain the meetings. So whether you're a teacher or just a Pilates lover, get my flashcards, get my posters, right? And like I said, with the flashcards, it's easy. Just pull up the cards and go, these are goal exercises. Okay. If you're an OPC member, a lot of the bigger and super advanced exercises we'll never do in class because it's all levels. We don't know what kind of equipment people are on, but you can certainly go, I want to do this exercise. Am I set up correctly? And it will absolutely give you feedback on that. Go to onlinepilatesclasses.com/YouTube to become a member and have access to my teaching in that way. Shields, I'm trying to get to overhead. Yeah. So to get to overhead, by the way, here's a simple thing. I have it on a video on this channel. Can you balance on your shoulders for 2 seconds during rolling like a ball? Not with your feet way overhead. In the rolling like a ball shape, can you balance on your shoulders for 2 seconds? If the answer is no, we've got to do that. Then it's like, okay, well, how's your double straight leg stretch? Can you lower and lift your legs without the quads taking over or your back arching? If the answer is no, we got to work on that. Right. Then can you bring your arms down with straight wrists and your shoulders wide? No, we got to work on that. So overhead is a very doable exercise. If you can balance on your shoulders for 2 seconds with your hips up, right? If you can have straight legs up and down, you can control that. And your arms can be straight, working from your back. If you can't, then you have to work on all the exercises to help with that. Arm springs, kneeling chest expansion, tower, leg springs, right? So anything that you're wanting to do is possible. And there is a foundational exercise in the practice that will reveal if you're ready for it or not. And then you combine. And advanced exercises are just taking 3 foundation exercises and putting them together. That's all, right? So, yes, if you have the chills that said I'm using my barrels to help, if you have a spine corrector, if you have my barrels deck, I actually show how you can use a spine corrector to help you with overhead exercises. And if you're an OPC member, Rachel often uses a barrel to put our hips on to get overhead. There's tons of stuff. What I will say is, remember, it is a Pilates practice. The original question was, how do I have a personal Pilates practice, right? Without overworking, but also challenging myself and remember how to exercise. Some of these exercises will be on the journey for years, right? 10-inch stretch on the reformer, I can absolutely do an ugly version of. 2 legs is slaying. One leg to the side, depends on the day, right? I'm still working on it because I'm still working on the reach through my leg there. Now, that doesn't mean I can't do other exercises, but I have to understand that like there is something missing in my practice that's making that harder for me to do. And that begins my journey. Snake and twist. Some days snake is slaying. Other days it's tight. So that's telling that's why I say like do your mat and reformer. It's going to tell you what your body needs. And I find like, oh my goodness, I if I don't do certain exercises and listen to them, then snake is not going to be great, which means when I get to my your exercises, I am doing things to work on the articulation of my spine. I'm working on how to reach my legs, my arm back connection so that tomorrow's snake can be better. My Shield says my arms are super short and can't clear myself for tendon stretch. Oh, I think Shields, you should submit a video of how if you're an OPC member, you should submit a video on tendon stretch. I actually think that most people are their goal in tendon stretch is wrong. They think that they have to get really far out and that their hips have to come through their arms in some capacity. That's not really it. Also, I think most people's foot bars are in the wrong setting. And I don't think people are using the right springs. It requires a heavy spring setting, right? And most people are on the kind of a lighter spring setting and they're making it too big. They saw some video where they push it all the way to the wheels and lift their head up. And that was in the archival videos. And you have to remember that Joe did those a long time ago, but that's not what Joe taught the people later on. And so why did he change it? Probably because he found something better, because he found something stronger, right? So, at any rate, I actually don't believe that your arms could ever be too short for an amazing exercise because they're your arms, but maybe the flexibility of your back, right? Like if you struggle with overhead, of course, tendon stretch is going to be hard because it's possible that your arm back connection isn't where we need it to be yet, or that your lower back isn't open enough yet, right? So are you hearing how like I can break down an exercise? This is what I do with my people on my Elevate program. I can break down an exercise and go, okay, hold on. Overhead and tendon stretch are the same thing. So if she struggles with overhead, of course she's going to struggle with tendon stretch, right? So then it's like, okay, well then what's her open leg rocker like? What's her rolling like a ball like? What's her double straight leg stretch like? What's her arm springs like? So, uh, Christy, I love this question. I went really long today because Brad's not here to go. So I got to wrap it up. Um, but what I hope that this gives you is permission to be in practice, and you must have your bread and butter. You must have a personal mat practice and reformer practice to tell you what you need to be doing. You want to have an idea of an exercise goal, and then that's what you practice with to connect yourself without overworking or underworking. And if you're worried about it, be an OPC member. We will become your bread and butter when it comes to the mat and reformer. We have great 45-minute themed classes that have to do with the chair and the Cadillac mat and reformer as well. And we'll look at your form and give you some ideas of what you need to work on. Thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you, Shields. I'm so excited for this trip. It's going to be amazing. We'll be gone for 2 weeks, but we will still be doing our lives. I'm almost positive. So just watch the schedule here on this channel. Also, you guys, I just saw that we're at like, hold on, we are at 38,000 subscribers, I think. 38,500. So here is my ask for you. If you have a Pilates lover friend who hasn't subscribed to my channel, can you ask them to do that? Because our channel, the reason we can make these videos, because it's the lives obviously is just my time, but we have people who make the art, we have people who make the posts, we have people who put the blogs out. Like to make all this stuff requires about 8 people on my team. So we get paid by the ads, and obviously subscribers help. So please, 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 if you have a friend who hasn't subscribed yet, ask them to subscribe. I would love to get this channel to be like 50,000 people. Oh my God, how huge would that be? So Nipa, thank you for being here. Ashley, thank you. Oh my gosh, everybody who's here, you guys are so amazing. It makes me so happy to see you guys here every single Sunday. I hope you know it means the world to me, and I'm so grateful for your questions. Drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you next week. Bye.